Today we're going to talk about the use of usted versus vos. In Spanish, in Porteño Spanish, we don't often use usted. I mean, usted is only reserved to formal situations. For example, if you are addressing to an older person than you, or maybe if you are at work, or in some strictly formal situations, not in everyday situations. For instance, if you are with your colleagues, you don't use usted, you don't address to them with usted. But if it's someone with a hierarchical position, which is rather unusual nowadays, or maybe a very old person. Nowadays in Buenos Aires, we don't. People sometimes don't like that you address to them with usted because they think you are taking them too old, especially if they are women. Women, for example, can get upset or a bit annoyed if you address to them with usted instead of vos. And this is something that is increasingly becoming the norm. I mean, not to use usted. People, their relations became very informal in the latest years. And even if you go, for example, to the doctor, I mean, or if you talk to your boss, you will normally find in these situations people using vos, addressing to them with vos and not with usted. And even the government, for example, if in Buenos Aires you will read a lot of government publicity in which they use tú. Not vos. I mean, for example, vacunate, instead of vacúnese, we say vacunate, or arroja los residuos en el tacho, en lugar de decir arroje los residuos en el tacho. So instead of using the formal usted, they use vos. I mean, which is something that that we get used to see at least in the last 15 years. Okay, the same in public transportation. Baja por atrás. Instead of saying baje por atrás o descienda por atrás, descende por atrás, o usa cinturón de seguridad instead of saying use cinturón de seguridad. This is something that has become the norm nowadays. I mean, usted is in Buenos Aires. Usted is reserved only to very, very, very formal situations. You can address to almost anyone with vos. I mean, personally, at work, when I'm dealing with people that I don't know, for example, if I work, for example, in customer service, so if a customer arrives, I mean, I will address to them with usted. But for example, most of my workmates don't do that. They directly use vos. I mean, to someone to a customer. I say, ¿Qué querés? ¿Qué necesitas? I personally prefer to use usted. I said, ¿qué quiere? ¿Qué necesita? ¿En qué la puedo ayudar? ¿O en qué lo puedo ayudar? If it is a man. But nowadays you will find even in customer service, you will find that people will address to you using vos instead of usted. But as I said at the beginning, if the person is very, very old, I mean, you will probably use usted. If it is, I don't know, someone with a hierarchical position, you will probably use usted. Well, that's all for today. I wanted to clarify this, if you are interested to speak like a Porteño.